Like
we saw something that looked like a car, which might be the Martin car.
Today I am back with the famous, my best friend in the whole entire world, half brother to Jay Leno, Mr. Scott, the Tacoma Bottle King himself, as we are out here in search of the Martin family from 1958, Scott.
Yep.
I'm excited. We're actually gonna be meeting up with the J.B. Fisher himself.
The famous J.B. Fisher.
Who can tell us a lot more about the Martin family story. So this is one episode you are not gonna wanna miss. Stay tuned, because it's gonna be a fun ride today. Scott is the Martin family disappearance, and who better to tell us about the Martin family disappearance than probably the only guy that is living today that has done more research that I know of than anybody else. This is J.B. Fisher, by the way, who, if you have not caught our first episode, wrote the book Echo of Distant Water, who is about the Martin family disappearance in 1958. What can you tell us about what it is that Scott and I are out here doing today?
Yeah, so basically the Martin family of 5, 3 daughters and parents, headed out on December 7th, 1958 to look at Christmas screens, came out to the Columbia River Gorge, and basically they were last seen a couple of spots along the highway, but the mystery is still unsolved to this day. So basically going on lots of kind of strange clues, and one of them had them stopping for gas here in Cascade Locks. The interesting thing about Cascade Locks is that basically most of the investigation centered on here, on this particular spot, and part of that was because it was believed that they'd stop for gas, and then the line was that they basically had gotten into an accident, some kind, that they were parked over here by the locks. Maybe they came to check it out just after getting gas or later on the day on their way back, and that basically they had accidentally driven into the locks. So a lot of the searching actually had gone on here. There were lots of efforts by the Hood River Sheriff throughout the subsequent months to search the heck out of this area. So they did dives, they did boats with magnetometers and other kinds of equipment to search this out. And then basically what happened was in the spring, discovery of the 2 youngest girls. And so basically they were found downriver from here, and a fisherman right here, pretty much exactly where we're standing, on the couple of days before the bodies were discovered, had seen 2 bodies drifting down basically between where we're standing right now and Thunder Island right over there.
So let me back up. So those of you who've not seen the other episode, you know, we talked about that, and what it was up in the Dalles, you know, a barge had picked up what they thought, you know, may have been a car. They were never able to put eyes on it.
Exactly.
But the Dalles is what, 25 miles up the road still here. So we're just a coincidence that they think that they picked up a car, but it may or may not have been the car. Where are you at on that one?
Well, so the time frame, just in terms of explaining the sequence of that, the Detective Graven, who was the guy who spent a lot of time working on this and really holding to that idea that they went in at the Dalles, basically held to the theory that, you know, the barge had hooked on something that he believed very clearly was a car, that it loosened up 2 of the bodies. The bodies came out, and then doing the math on the flow of the river, the time frame, everything else, it would be exactly right that they would end up coming through here at that point that the fisherman saw them. So he was very much committed to that theory. And frankly, you know, there were other clues that also pointed in that direction. The tire tracks off of the cliff right there. And there was a lot of pushback from various law enforcement agencies on what Graven was doing out there. There was never really any official searching of that area, which seems suspicious, you know, certainly looking back at it. It really kept the focus of the investigation right here at Cascade Locks.
So we're dealing with, you know, potential tire tracks here, potential tire tracks in the Dalles, but we're also dealing with a bloody gun and a potential, maybe it was not an accident.
Yeah, so there are a number of clues that, along with, you know, that Walter Graven, the detective, was very much interested in, along with the tire tracks. And 2 of them were an abandoned gun found right over here by Cascade Locks that turned out to have a serial number that matched a gun that had been stolen from a department store in Portland that the brother of the family, the older brother in the family, had worked at. And there's some other interesting connections that would suggest that he did have some involvement, even though to this day I firmly believe he wasn't the actual perpetrator. But there was also an abandoned car right over on the other side of Cascade Locks that had been linked to 2 ex-cons. One of them was staying about 100 yards from the cliff site that you guys were at over in the Dalles, and they definitely had some interesting connections to the case as well. So there's definitely some foul play elements, and none of that really connects to Cascade Locks as much as the Dalles. But again, it's interesting that most of the law enforcement agencies weren't interested in going up in that area. And in my book, I talk about some plausible reasons for why that would be. But definitely sticking to the question of what we're doing here today, or what you guys are doing. If they did go in here, if you guys say find the car today, that would pretty much say that it was an accident. If they went in up at the Dalles, that would pretty much 100% say foul play. The big possibility in my book definitely talks about more is the question of the older brother and his relationship with the family, and did seem to have some grudge with the family, and there were friends of his that seemed to be mixed up with the younger daughters. So without giving it all away in my book, basically there were some connections there that would help to explain why the family was done in if they were victims of foul play.
Like JB said, he doesn't want to give too much away in his book because he took a lot of time to put this book together, and so we're not going to tell you all the secrets of it, but we do want you to go check it out over on Amazon.
Yeah.
Is where they can get it. So I'll put a link down below. Check this out. So Scott, what's your thought on all this? I mean,
Well,
our
my thought is that first off, JB is an amazing resource. I mean, he's got so much knowledge about this that he's able to put together a book. And I've been, following this for, I don't know, I'll say a year and a half. And I still, every time we talk about this story, there's some new twist. And then there's also the twists get twisted. And suddenly, I know there's things that you've said, we've heard, and like, well, I heard the barge operator did A, B, and C, when in reality you see the report, you just like, we got hooked on something, we don't know what it was. And then we turned it into a whole new story.
Yeah.
And so...
Well, it's interesting because one of the things about that is that I think if you go by the newspapers and the police reports, which obviously is important to go by, you could say that there's so many places where you can kind of run with it from there. But the reality for me is that, I found all of Walter Graven's papers, and that's the big thing. The big difference for me is that this guy, was a detective who was involved in this throughout the thing and really was committed to getting to the bottom of it and talked to all these people and left behind a trail of some of the explanations for some of the things that it's easy to run with in the papers and the police reports, and gave like a more clear kind of determination of what was, I have his personal notebooks with stuff crossed out, and there's reason for him to be not wanting this stuff to get out there, and because he was really feeling a lot of pressure from his superiors not to pursue this case, and leaving behind that trail is pretty interesting.
I think if this thing's gonna be found, it's gonna be found by a diver.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's in the Dalles, and I love this, the thought that it's gone off that cliff, and I love that, but that's where I think we just need to keep diving out there, because we've done a bunch of, half dozen dives out there, and every time it's new territory.
Yeah.
It's so rocky and rough, and
it's tough.
You could hide a dozen semi-trucks down there, and you wouldn't find them after 10 dives.
Yeah, you have a lot more room to...
It'll make a good movie.
Yeah.
especially if you're the star and you solve it.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
The bridge is over there, by the way, Jared.
All right, let's do it.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, JB.
Yeah, good luck.
The rest of it is just us goofing around all day.
Yeah, we'll have fun. Be safe out here.
All right, so it really sounds like after talking to JB, I'm really leaning towards the Dalles for our big search, but we got to clear this area.
Yeah, and we're certainly at the moment, we're not in a spot that would be really even need to scan, because if there were eyewitnesses of bodies actually floating past this island, that would mean the car was up past the bridge that we're going to go through. So this is all just kind of for fun up until we get to the bridge. I'd say there's no silt. There's not like a lot of silt down there. I think the water moves fast enough to where it'd be kind of it's a concrete or gravel. Well, it's a solid rock, right? I mean, they built this through a rock, big chunk of rock, and then they built the walls up here. And if there was a car down, you would see it on scan. It would be a big target, because it's pretty clean and clear down there.
You are picking up like nothing. That is a flat bottom.
It's just a flat bottom.
So I'm almost going to say that we've already like ruled this area out just that quick.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. There's no reason to go dive that with the dangers that would be involved with diving that.
Well, plus there's
just do a drift dive.
Plain as day that there's nothing down there. Plus all the nets and everything.
Here's something I like. This is a anchor chain. Oh, that's probably a stern line.
You can't steal their anchor chain, Scott.
I see an anchor right.
Yeah, it's their anchor.
They don't have an anchor. They're not.
Scott, it's their anchor.
No. Why would they have an anchor?
All right, hey, let's go scout some of those other spots that are up river along the Highway 84, right?
Yep.
Towards the Dalles, and see what else we can find today. Let's bring everybody up to speed. What's our theory on this location?
Well,
here, like
we saw something that looked like a car, which might be the Martin car, and so I'm gonna go down and take a look and see what we have going on down there.
Good. The other issue that we have is there's so much milfoil, and the other thing we have too is those great big boulders. So I mean, we have misidentified big boulders before as cars for sure. But I'm gonna hope that you're right. Today's episode sponsors brought to you by Dennis, who has been my personal trainer, who's taken like the whole dad bod, like from this to this, and we're still working on it.
Yeah.
It's an online, like I didn't have to go see Dennis at all. Like I'm in his gym today, but I didn't have to come in to see him. I did this from my garage. I did it from on the road. Zoom, Skype. Tell us a little bit more about Arc Revolution, what you're doing.
Arc Revolution on this one, guys, it's an entirely customizable at-home personal training program. So a lot of people who don't want to come to a gym, don't want this kind of setting, you want to do it from the privacy of your home, but you need that accountability. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about having trainers at your beck and call through Zoom, through Skype, through virtual connection to customize a program for you.
So check out the link in the description below where just leave your name and your email address. Dennis's team will reach out to you, and they'll talk to you about what is it they can do for you with an in-home personal training
platform. Sure, let's go with that.
There you go. That's all you need to know. Link is in the description. Thanks, Dennis.
A brick and a shoe.
That's it,
Can't make that up.
That kind of goes with the brick was used to knock somebody out. At this point, we kind of cleared this area. We're back to the Dalles, really, for the Martin family.
That's fine. I mean, there's so many places to look there.
Well, I'm gonna say that on that note, don't go anywhere yet, because I do want to get in the water. We have an old mill that's been burned down across the way over there, and I would like to give something away today. I'm gonna find something more than a brick and a shoe. And we're gonna
That's a cool brick. It's from Idaho.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Scott. I'm gonna find you guys something better than a brick. I'll let Kiara decide who the actual winner is, so leave a comment down below. But let's go find it first. That way you know what it is that you're winning. And it's not going to be a brick from Idaho.
And I'm going to be on that dive as well, and I'm going to find something really cool. I'm going to find a bottle that's going to blow everybody's mind.
Are you going to give the bottle away?
No, I'm going to keep it.
Oh, look at that nice big old growth. Alright, if you guys aren't in the trees. No idea what that is. That's in there quite a ways though. Oh well. On to the next. Barrel. I've heard of people finding people in barrels before. That's good news. And there's a bone. Nope, piece of rubber. Alright, there's one bottle for Scott. There you go, Scott. A bottle. There's a roll bar off of somebody's Jeep.
I got you a bottle.
Did you do better than a boot and a brick?
Yeah,
That's the going high bar right now is a boot and a brick.
Yeah, I got a piece of rubber.
Yeah?
No, I think that's all I got. It was a piece of rubber and a bottle.
Oh, I think you're saying that. I think there's something good in there. Let's see what you really got.
Piece of rubber.
Piece of rubber.
Okay, just like I said.
Yeah.
And
wait for it.
I know you're into bottles, so I got you the best bottle find of the day. Uh-oh. Okay, there you go.
A Rainier piece of crap bottle.
That's it. Oh, it does say Rainier on it.
One of you's coming back to the boat. Either you or the bottle. I think I'll take you right now.
Well, all right.
Oh, you know, actually that could be a Rainier. Here, let me grab it.
It says Rainier on it.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a cool beer bottle then.
Yeah, so that's my one and only thing that I can give away.
Oh yeah, look at that.
At the end of it, Scott, I wish I had more. Our journey for the Martin family's not over. Today's journey is over though. So if you've not done so, it helps the algorithm. If you subscribe, hit like, leave a comment, all that good stuff. Other than that, we'll see you next time for another episode on Adventures with Purpose. That's it for now. Later. Send us out, Scott. You can't even turn it around.
All right.
Bye-bye.
I can't even do it.